Breaking news, Raiders fans. A reliable source has just confirmed what seemed like only a rumor. Things are buzzing behind the scenes at the Raiders, and a big-ticket deal could be finalized at any moment. If you don't want to miss any details of this epic turnaround, subscribe to the channel now. Because whoever is being linked to the team this time could put the Raiders straight on the Super Bowl path. Picture this. Training camp in Las Vegas is in full swing. The spotlight still overshadowed by the shocking release of Christian Wilkins, a move no one saw coming so soon. And while everyone discusses the impact of this decision on the defensive front seven, a possible quiet shift in the offensive sector may be about to happen. We're talking about a discreet move, almost imperceptible in the mainstream media, but one that could yield unexpected results. The Raiders are indeed considering investing in one of the most disappointing picks of the 2024 draft. Wide receiver Jalin Pulk, formerly of the New England Patriots. Now, the question you might be asking is, why? Let's get to the facts. Pulk was selected 37th overall in the draft, a second-round pick with high expectations for a large portion of the Patriots. But his rookie season was, to say the least, disastrous. In 16 games, he didn't even reach 100 total catches, an alarming statistic for any passer, and received a grade of just 45.4 from Pro Football Focus, a clear indication of his inability to excel even in a weakened rotation. To make matters worse, Pulk has already been buried on the Patriots' depth chart, behind even veteran minimum contract players and late-round draft picks. It's clear that patience in New England is running out. But where many see failure, Pete Carroll seems to see opportunity. And this is where the Raiders' mentality cleverly comes into play. A potential trade for Pulk would cost, according to insiders, no more than a late-round pick, an almost symbolic price. And in exchange, time could gain a still young receiver with raw physical talent and a profile currently lacking on the Las Vegas roster. Jalin Pulk is a wide receiver who doesn't shine for speed, but rather for physical strength and body control on contested catches. At 6'2", he has the ideal height to win battles upfield, especially on sideline routes or in red zone situations. Coming out of college, Pulk was considered one of the best difficult-to-receive specialists in the class. This kind of skill is exactly what the Raiders need on the perimeter today. The current receiving core has interesting pieces, but all of them are outside players for more interior or specific roles. Jacoby Myers and Jack Beck play best in the slot, exploring short routes and open spaces in the middle of the field. Trey Tucker, despite his speed and explosiveness, is still used as a gadget player, with pre-snap movements and creative plays, not as a reliable WR on outside routes. Donte Thornton Jr., while promising, is raw and one-dimensional, relying heavily on vertical routes. There's truly no physical piece, aggressiveness, or ability to fight for the ball upfield. Pulk can fill this void. More than that, the arrival of Chip Kelly as offensive coordinator could be the breakthrough Pulk needs. Kelly's system prioritizes exclusivity and functionality. It's not about forcing a player into a mold, but rather finding the right place for his specific talent. In this context, Pulk doesn't need to be a WR1. He doesn't need to carry the offense. He just needs to be a niche weapon, an outlet in situations where his physicality can make a difference, especially on third downs and in the red zone. In Las Vegas, he would have the time, structure, and coaching to reinvent himself. And we can't ignore the parallel with Colin Johnson, another physical wide receiver recently signed by the Raiders. Johnson is already in his 5th year of career, and so far hasn't shown the ability to earn a regular salary in the NFL. Pulk, on the other hand, is just getting started, and with a much more encouraging college record. This tips the scales in favor of the former Patriot, who still carries the stamp of unfulfilled promise. Recovering players who flounder early in their careers is nothing new in the NFL, and smart teams can turn these overlooked talents into valuable rotational pieces. Just think of names like Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne, who changed their surroundings and reinvented their paths. Pulk could be next. So while fans are still trying to process Christian Wilkins' departure and its defensive impact, perhaps a more strategic offseason move is about to happen just under the radar. And is this just the first piece of the offensive puzzle that Pete Carroll wants to put together? Well, the next chapter of this story promises to be even more ambitious, and with a much bigger name on the radar. If you thought the Raiders training camp was only hot on the field, you'd better get ready. Behind the scenes, a potential trade is taking shape and could be the missing piece for Pete Carroll's offense to truly take off in 2025. And the name that's increasingly being floated is that of San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Jawan Jennings. It's a move as strategic as it is bold, capable of changing the entire silver and black offensive system overnight, and with an immediate impact on the locker room, on the field, and on Geno Smith's confidence. The proposal under consideration is clear. The Raiders would send a third-round pick in the 2026 draft, plus wide receiver Trey Trey Tucker in exchange for Jennings. And, at first glance, this trade makes sense from several perspectives, both technical and tactical. Jennings is coming off a highly productive season with 77 receptions, 975 yards, and 6 touchdowns, cementing himself as a reliable option in the 49ers' most crucial moments. But beyond the numbers, what truly impresses is his style of play: physical, combative, and highly disciplined. These are exactly the qualities Pete Carroll wants in his players, especially on the offensive end. The new coach made it clear from the first day of camp that he wants a competitive season on all fronts, and this directly reflects the way his receivers behave. Jennings is an aggressive blocker, a receiver who isn't afraid of contact and can convert third downs with precision. He fit perfectly into a system that emphasizes the running game, even more so now with the arrival of Ashton Jeanty, an explosive running back from Boise State. Alongside Jacoby Myers and tight end Brock Bowers, Jennings would form a trio that would blend experience, reliability, and character. This would give Geno Smith something he's lacked for much of his career: a balanced receiver core, without glaring holes and with multiple options in decisive moments. Jennings may not be the ideal WR1 in every scheme, but in Carroll's offense, with its emphasis on clock control, well-executed routes, and physical strength, he's the right WR1. On the other side of the spectrum, Trey Tucker represents a project still under construction. Although he's shown promise, he's demonstrated an inconsistency that's difficult to sustain at a time when immediate results are sought. His speed is undeniable, but his ability to impact the game as a starter is still far from ideal. In this sense, the trade offers the Raiders a clear evolution, moving from uncertainty to solidity. And this is an unmistakable sign of a franchise that doesn't want to wait for the future. It wants to win now. Financially, the trade also fits like a glove. With $48.6 million in available salary cap space, the Raiders can easily absorb Jennings' current contract and even offer an extension that makes him a long-term asset. The return on such an investment is immediate. He brings experience to the group, leadership within the locker room, and greater scope to develop young talent like Jack Beck and Dante Thornton Jr., who still need time to establish themselves in the NFL. For the 49ers, the move also makes sense. The team is comfortable with Ricky Pearsall's growth after his high draft pick and recently signed DeMarcus Robinson to strengthen the group. Freeing up space and obtaining draft capital while adding a promising sprinter like Tucker could be an interesting move within their planning. But for the Raiders, Jennings is much more than just a fit. He represents the bridge between youth and maturity, between promise and delivery. His arrival would allow offensive coordinators to use a variety of formations, create imbalances in opposing defenses, and provide Geno Smith with a reliable weapon in crucial moments. Furthermore, the combination of Jennings and a potential returning Jalin Pulk would create a receiving core with depth, physique, and complementary profiles, something Las Vegas has long lacked. This move would also send a clear message to the rest of the league. The Raiders are serious about this season. Pete Carroll and GM John Spytek aren't just managing a roster. They're building a winning team with hand-picked players tailored to the style and culture they intend to establish in Las Vegas. Jennings' arrival would be the embodiment of this philosophy: tough, reliable players ready to deliver in week 1. Now, with the Jennings rumors gaining momentum and the real possibility of Jalin Pulk's recovery on the radar, the big question is, what else is next? What are Pete Carroll's next tricks to transform the Raiders' offense into an AFC powerhouse? One thing is certain: if these two pieces are confirmed, the expectation for Las Vegas will change dramatically, and the rest of the NFL will have to pay attention. Because the silver and black no longer wants to be a supporting player, it's preparing to be a protagonist. Given all these bold moves by the Raiders, from the potential return of Jalin Pulk to the strategic trade for Jawan Jennings to the roster restructuring under Pete Carroll, do you believe the silver and black's offense will finally have the depth, identity, and aggressiveness needed to compete with the AFC Giants in 2025? Leave your opinion here. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, but I'll be back later to update you with the latest Raiders news.